Welcome to Booklore Podcast, the podcast where we explore the literary universe one episode at a time. We're your hosts, Sarah and Rob. Thanks for joining us. Remember to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at the Booklore Podcast.
Okay, ready? Thanks for joining us again on the podcast. So great to have you back. Today is a special episode.
Special edition of Booklore.
Oh, special edition of Booklore. Okay, I like
It's our little
that. Oh.
You like that? You like that?
I do like it. And you just wrote that off the top of your
I
head?
did, off the tippy top.
Do it again.
A special edition of Booklore.
Wow, I think you changed the melody, but okay.
Probably.
That was awesome.
I am tone deaf, so who knows?
And why is it a special edition today, Sarah?
Because there's 5 Wednesdays this month, everybody.
Oh my goodness. Are you like trying out for a game show?
Don't know. I could have you've just been bamboozled.
Oh, that's a funny episode.
That is a funny episode.
Yeah, 5 episodes this month. So
Yep.
we're like, we need to do a special one. It's our first month, and we're already doing special episodes.
Look at us go. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who
So
would have thought?
there'll probably be like, I don't know, 4 or 5 of those a year. And here's
Yeah.
my thought. I want to
Give me
do
your thoughts.
I want to do like a nonfiction
Yep.
book, but not a bio.
Not a memoir.
Yeah, not a memoir.
Okay. So
Yes.
self-help.
Well, no, I hate.
But like a good self-help, not like a Tony
well, no, I
Robbins.
want a bad self-help book. No, yeah, of course a good self.
like psychology.
Yeah, maybe.
Or
Gabor Mate, maybe. Or
yes.
maybe,
I
but
wanna
his
read
books
his
are
book, but
boring.
it's thick, really
They're
thick.
kind of boring, too. They're a little dull.
I haven't read him yet, but
Yeah, I've read them.
I listened to the podcast he's on, but
Yeah. No, and I like them. Cool. Anyways, so something like that. Now,
Okay,
this
cool.
time,
yeah,
we decided on a memoir.
we did.
And
This is a pretty popular memoir.
it's a popular
It's
memoir.
popular, especially when it came out.
Dude.
There was a lot of, not scandal around it. Like, scandal's the wrong, but there's a lot of buzz around it because of the title
Yeah.
of the book.
Yes.
And
it's
that's
like,
what
well, I can never get the
initially-
title straight.
That's what initially drew me to the book
Yeah.
because I didn't grow up watching her on TV.
No,
I
me
was,
either.
I was too old.
I
Like,
was Saved
phased
by
out
the
of-
Bell.
And Saved by the Bell?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was my
Saved by the
jam.
Bell.
Yeah.
Stop.
Come on, Zach.
Zach.
Oh,
AC Slater.
AC Slater.
AC Slater. So I
Screech.
wasn't. Yeah.
So to his
R.I.P.
antics.
I didn't watch her on TV. It was
No.
I was too old. I kind of
I-
phased out of that.
I did see her because I had kids.
Yeah. Oh right. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
It was iCarly? Yeah, she was on
Yeah.
iCarly.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway, so the book that we picked that we're going to discuss today is "I'm Glad My Mom Died" by Jennette McCurdy.
By Jennette McCurdy.
And that title,
Is like,
Wild, isn't it?
whoa,
Yeah.
gut punch.
it's wild. You're
It's
like,
whoa.
oh. So
How do
that's
you
what-
tell me how you really feel,
yeah,
Jennette?
no, and it's like a precursor to what is inside the pages
Oh,
because she's
but-
very honest.
Dude.
Yeah.
I get why she titled it that.
Me too.
Oh
me
my
too. Me too.
gosh.
I know it's a very raw read. Yeah.
It's shocking.
It's
Like, I'm a
yeah.
parent of 4 children.
Yeah, I'm curious actually how you felt reading this as a parent.
I felt like I was a
Yeah.
pretty decent parent.
Yeah, it made you feel really good.
I didn't.
Huh?
I don't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. Because here's a funny thing.
Yeah.
Shannon just forced me to watch The Mormon Wives.
Yes.
Right? For our see me and Shannon do these reviews.
Yeah.
In that
Plug it.
between 2 films.
On Instagram, follow them. Yep.
Yeah. So she made me watch The Mormon Wives.
Yeah.
I hate that show. That show's dumb, and I feel dumber for watching it.
Right.
Okay. But man,
I enjoyed it.
yeah, those Mormons. Okay,
Yeah.
the Mormons. So
Yep.
there's a town right outside of where I used to be from called
Yeah.
Warman. So I always get them.
Warman.
Yeah, I keep
Warman
saying the
Mormons.
Warman Wives. It's the Mormon Wives.
Yeah.
That they're so different.
Mhm.
Like it's just bizarro.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like they really feel like they're on a different planet.
Well,
Yeah.
they do weird things. So like
I know.
they can't drink coffee. And I don't know if it's for the caffeine or if it's for the hot drink part of it.
Which I don't understand because they fill up their big Stanley cups with all those like pop.
Soda
and
pops.
Soda pop like
yeah,
at 9 a.m. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, how are you alive?
right? And they get Botox and filler and
Yeah.
boob jobs and all these things.
Yeah.
But you can't have your coffee.
But you can't have the caffeine in the coffee. I know. It's just
So,
bizarre.
Okay, and so there's like a strictness around Mormonism, and I don't want to speak bad of Mormons because I don't know. I've known some Mormons and really like them, and always everybody's sort of different, right?
Yep.
You can say that about Christians too. There's a lot of
there's a spectrum for sure. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But some of that stuff that I saw in the Mormon Wives, I also felt in this book.
Oh, interesting.
Right? Like just sort of I feel like they had in Mormon Wives crazy pants parents, and some of them were gonna be crazy pants parents.
Yeah.
And I feel like
this is what happened to Jennette.
Mom was definitely
Yeah. So Jennette McCurdy, this is her memoir. And so Jennette McCurdy, if you don't know who she is, she was a child star on the Nickelodeon network with iCarly, and she starred very famously with Ariana Grande, who wasn't like Ariana Grande at the time.
She was getting to be.
But she was getting to be, and they talk about that. And just it's her memoir, and she's very, very honest.
Oh man.
There are definitely a lot of trigger warnings. In this
gosh.
Sexual assault,
eating disorders.
There's a lot depression and like a lot of things going on. So like read with caution.
Schizophrenia.
But I would say it's such an interesting read. Very interesting.
I think it's a huge warning. It actually makes you think. You know, made me think about the state of like child actors.
Yeah, child stars.
So like, I don't know how you make shows without kids in them. You need to have kids in movies, and you need to have kids in television. I mean, because you don't need, but your stories aren't believable if kids are never in them.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. It's almost like they're just sort of fed this belief that it's amazing like this and it'll be so forever. And that's so damaging. Like, I feel like maybe if you taught your child, you're doing this now, and when it's done, it's over. Right. That would be helpful. Like, this is for a time. This is for a season. There's no guarantees you're going to be some kind of star for the rest of your life.
And like push them to be a
star. Right. So if your kid is
that balance.
Because you don't want to steal from their opportunity either. So say your kid discovers they have passion for acting, and then they get an opportunity. You won't be like necessarily no. But
you want to guide them.
And
give them.
You need to help them to control the desire to be needed and wanted by other people. On that level, right? So I don't know, because when it's all taken away, what do they have left? Right? And you saw it with like a lot of
trauma.
And the awful people that are in the industry because they're there. I mean, had to call the guy the creator, for goodness sake.
I know.
And it makes it even sound more creepier.
It's just it's really all bad. And even that documentary came out, that Nickelodeon documentary came out a couple months ago.
About that guy. And that's who it was about,
the guy,
right?
And
the creator.
That's the same creator that she talks about. Like, and he's just nasty. So it's, yeah.
So what was the most sort of biggest gut punch to you in that book? Was there anything that you were just like, oh, that hits home?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of gut punches in that. I think an initial gut punch that I have is just the way that her mother just abused her.
It's insane.
It's insane. And like the mother, did it get into the background of her mother? I can't remember if it got into the background of her mother. Not really.
No.
I'm very curious to know how her mother grew up.
Yeah.
I'm very, very curious to
Her mom wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
But she wasn't allowed to, right? Because of the Mormonism?
Yes.
Is that true?
I think so. I'm trying to remember.
I remember that she desperately wanted to be an actor, and that's why she's
living vicariously,
like,
she through her
Jennette
daughter.
Into it. Yeah.
But yeah, that was just kind of like, it just makes me really be like so grateful.
Can I tell you the big one for me?
Yeah.
Her mom was wiping her butt and like doing private parts checks on her when she was 16 years old.
This is what I'm saying. Like the abuse.
She was wiping her.
Yeah. And like for what?
Well, she would say it was to make sure and check that everything was okay. What?
It's just like it's so sad to me. It's so sad.
I don't know if this is good parenting, but I'm like, okay, how old are you, kid?
Wipe your butt.
Yeah,
wipe your own butt.
Okay, you're gonna live with skid marks for a while. I don't care, but you got to get this together because I'm done.
No,
I'm done wiping your butt now.
Yeah. I know. It honestly, it feels so wild to me. It feels so wild because I did not grow up in any kind of environment anywhere close to what she experienced. And so it makes me obviously have so much like empathy and compassion for like what she has gone through.
Yeah.
And I just don't, I don't know how I would even function in that situation. So for Jennette to even just like be functioning and going to work and living her life is really just such a mystery to me.
Well,
yeah.
And then she would go in to descriptions on how she was embarrassed going into puberty, how desperately she didn't want to get breasts.
Yeah.
Because she wanted to be a child
forever
so that her mom would still love her. Like, this is such a messed up relationship.
Such a messed up relationship.
And her mom, you know who her mom reminds me of? Like, just hearing?
Yeah.
The mom on The Bear.
Yeah.
Like, freaking out.
Yeah, Jamie Lee
why don't they
Curtis's,
love? I work so
character.
hard for them, and why don't they love her? They don't appreciate it. And that's, like, literally her mom.
So unhealthy.
And then if you go to the end of the book, that's grandma, too. Grandma's the same way.
Well, that's what I mean. That's why I said, like, I'm so curious to how her mother grew up. And this just speaks to, like, the generational trauma and these generational things that are passed down. And, like, if you don't break patterns, you're just going to continue them.
I wonder if, like, putting out the memoir was that for her.
Maybe.
Right? Like, I'm breaking this.
Yeah.
Right?
I
And the
hope
only way you
so.
can do it is to sort of bring it to the light.
Yeah.
Right?
And do a lot of work on yourself and
goodness.
what you've experienced. So I'm sure she paid a lot of money for therapy.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh my
Haven't
goodness.
we all?
Yeah. So were there any people that you kind of were like, oh, I like them? It's kind of weird because like you feel like you're talking about them. Like, so what are the characters that you like?
I know. Well, she talks about her co-star Miranda Cosgrove.
Yeah. From iCarly.
And from iCarly, and she was also Summer in School of Rock, and I am a School of Rock fanatic.
Oh, she was.
Yeah. 2 gold stars for you, Summer. Yeah. Yes, that's her. So I thought that relationship between them, like they're co-stars, but they were always there for each other. And I thought that was so sweet because especially at that time, that age, you're often pitted against each other. And you could see that happening with the Ariana Grande and her situation.
So, yeah.
Where she admits to Jennette, like, she was so bitter for like the success that kind of Ariana was getting and what she was seeing. And so that so easily could have gone towards Miranda, but she made it seem like even up to today, like Miranda is such like a comfort and like safe place for her. And I just thought like she really needed that. She really needed
I did
that.
like her.
Yeah. What about you?
Kind of it.
I know everything else is quite
all the
tragic.
guys in her life were. Steve was just sort of sad.
Yeah.
So he was the Italian guy who saw Jesus, then thought he was Jesus, then got high a lot.
What a
poor
story.
Dude.
Like, what's going on there, Steve?
Steve, right?
What's going on? Yeah.
I
forgot about Steve.
There really wasn't a lot of great characters in there.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is, like, they're not characters.
No.
It's like they're real people, and this is so tragic.
Yeah.
But there's, like, nobody good.
No.
There was nobody good. Isn't that so sad? Dang.
Like,
Jennette, give us a call. We'll hug you.
Her brothers. I found possibly her non-biological dad. Found him interesting, at least.
Okay, what about him was interesting?
Well, I feel like, obviously, mom gave him a really bad rap. Yeah. And, like, the whole time he's like, this isn't my child, right? But he's not allowed to talk about it. Imagine if he ever talked about it, he would have been castrated by that woman. Right?
I'm scared of that woman.
And then he does tell her, right? So I just kind of my tune on some sense changed with him because I'm going, okay, I see you're kind of nobody, but you have these moments of closeness with her. Yeah. Whatever, you're kind of nothing. And then you find out that he's not even her biological father. Yeah. And you kind of go, oh, well, like, good for you to like stick around.
Yeah, and step up in that relationship.
Kind of. Yeah. It's really maybe bare minimum stuff, but kind of just finding that out made me change a little bit.
The bare minimum to her and her circumstance is huge.
Yeah, and he's not her dad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. But like, did he do everything out of fear of that woman? Because holy smoke,
Probably. I would.
She was scary.
I would. Yeah.
Like, I would. Scary.
I know. It's quite tragic. But I think for Jennette to like write this book and be so honest, She wasn't just honest about like the bad parts of other people, but she was honest about the bad parts of herself.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so interesting because she so easily could have swept over all of her, not part to play because she was abused and that's not her fault,
Yeah.
but her part to play, even like growing up in iCarly and the whole, her and Ariana Grande kind of being at odds with each other.
Yeah.
She admitted like I was so bitter of her success and
Yeah.
I was rude to her. And
Well,
all that. Like I thought
I
she
actually
was honest
understood that somewhat
in
though.
this whole scope.
Like Ariana Grande got to get away with things that she never would have
Yeah.
been able to get away with.
Yeah.
So in some
A double
level,
standard.
it's like
yeah.
I get
Frustrating.
that. That would
for
be
sure.
really
And she's
frustrating.
young. Like
Yeah.
they're so young.
And she was promised her own show,
Yeah.
and now she's not getting that.
Yeah.
And then, okay, was it Ariana Grande, do you think, that said, if she gets to direct, I quit my job? Like,
Yeah.
I quit?
When I read that, that's what I thought.
That's who I thought, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know.
She doesn't say who
No.
it was, but I mean, those are the vibes I was getting.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I could believe that 100%.
yeah.
Unfortunately. But I just thought, yeah, like what a honest all across the board for her to put this out
Yeah.
into the world.
Yeah.
Must have been so terrifying, but also cathartic.
Yeah.
And I just thought like, wow, that like living in that tension is very interesting to me.
It would have been so vulnerable. Like,
Yeah.
the stuff she's sharing,
Yes.
like, she shares a lot.
A
A lot.
lot.
Too much.
Yeah. It's a lot. She's very honest.
She's
yeah.
very honest.
But this is why, like, reading is so incredible because it's not just like, oh, we're here for the gossip. Like, we're not here for the juice. But we actually get to see her whole life in this whole span and how she's, like, wrestled with things, wrestled with her relationship with her mother. I love books that talk about, like, the tension of, like, mother-daughter relationships because I've experienced that, like, in my life.
Interesting.
Not to this level at
No,
all. But even just any book with that kind of dynamic,
Yeah.
I'm just in.
Yeah.
Because I can relate to it on some level. And even when like Jennette is talking about her eating disorder, like I can relate to that on some level.
Yeah.
So to hear her talk about that was very interesting just for me personally.
What a struggle that one is.
Yeah. Like I just have so much like empathy
Yeah.
towards a lot of parties involved, like not just her. And I think that's what reading does. Like reading
Yeah.
should bring out these feelings inside of us of empathy, and we're learning about like, oh, I'm not just here in my little bubble. Like some people are living these things. They're so hard and tragic, but yet she was so resilient.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
interesting because I think some people will go in and read something and say, oh, it's oversharing.
Yeah.
She's sharing too much. But I don't know. Like, I think those are the kind of things we actually need to read and actually need to talk about,
Yeah.
right? So she's talking about in the book, she talks about essentially her love life.
Yeah.
And her love life as a result of her upbringing.
Yep.
Which was like difficult.
Yeah.
Like really difficult.
Yeah.
She'd say like, I didn't know what I was doing. I
Yep.
didn't know expectation. Like I
Yep.
didn't understand this. I didn't understand that.
Yep.
It's like I was like a child
Yep.
doing these. And I mean, in some sense, she very much still was. She
Yep.
was like 18 years old.
Yeah,
or-
she's young still. Yeah.
But I think that's important to talk about. And when we say things like, oh, you know, it's oversharing, or we don't want to talk about those things because it goes against our, you know, our proper the way
Social norms.
yeah, the way we think things ought to be
Yeah.
discussed.
I think that's ignorant.
Well, we just don't talk about things.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying. We just don't want to talk about it because it makes
Yeah.
it feel icky.
It makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, but they need to be talked about because
Mm-hmm.
you look at all the different people who grow up thinking this is wrong, this is gross, this is yucky.
Yeah.
I'm dirty if I've done this. Right? And
Yeah.
you're just left to your own mind because we're not allowed to talk about it.
Yep. And then you spiral.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you think you're the only person on the planet
yeah.
who's going through anything similar. And so
Yeah.
I think with her putting this out there,
It's helpful.
she's helped so many people.
Yeah.
Even just put like language to something that they've experienced too, right? Like it doesn't have to be the biggest
Yeah.
thing. But I think you're
And I'd say
so right.
A book is where to do it.
Yeah.
Like she's not, you
Yeah.
know, she hasn't made some like raunchy movie about it.
Yeah.
Right.
And like if people want to read it, they'll buy it. If you don't want to read it, you won't buy it.
yeah, exactly.
Like it's very optional. Like she's not
Yes.
forcing anything on
No,
you.
exactly.
And I think there's something to be said about that is we need to read things that make us uncomfortable
Absolutely, we do.
because how else are we
But not when
learning?
it's high fae and they're purring.
Uncomfortable in this instance.
Okay.
Like uncomfortable
Yeah.
of like, this is not my story, or this
Yeah.
is so different
Yeah.
from my own experience. Let me like
Yes.
let me experience, put myself in somebody else's shoes. Like
For sure.
books are just so important. This literature is just so important.
Yeah,
And people will say,
yeah.
this isn't literature. This is like gossip, or this is like, I've seen people online being like, she doesn't, like you said, she's oversharing. She doesn't need to tell us this. Nobody asked her. Nobody asked her to tell us all these things. I'm just like, who cares? First of all, shush.
Yeah.
Who cares? This is why books are so important.
Nobody asked her. Nobody asked a single writer to ever write a single
Yeah.
word.
Yeah. Nobody asked me to make a comment. Scram.
Yeah.
Scram.
That's silly. That's a silly statement to make.
So I feel like this book is very important.
Most shocking thing in the book, though.
Most shocking.
Yes. This is where we spill the tea.
You go first
Is that what
because
it's
I have to
called?
think.
Oh, I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah, I have to think. There's a lot of shocking things. And I read this like a little bit ago, so. trying to
Yeah, and I
remember.
might have said mine with the mom doing all that stuff. I thought that was
that was really shocking to me.
Really shocking.
Even that Steve guy was so shocking to me.
Was he? What do you mean? That he thought he was Jesus?
I didn't know he was Jesus.
No, it was
I
schizophrenia.
said, what am I reading right now? But
Yeah.
he has mental health issues. But
No, I do think it was
There's,
I think it was honestly
it's anything involving the
mom's
mother and her
behavior.
abuse. Yeah.
I don't like that. Doesn't seem real. How
Yeah.
she would always flip. Remember, there was one scene where she was in the car and Jennette, is that her name?
Yeah, Jennette.
Yeah. She said, "I think I'm tired of acting," and her mom throws a
Yes.
hissy fit.
She literally
Tantrum.
wouldn't let her. Yeah, you're talking about how like Jennette feels stunted. Like
Yeah.
when she gets older, she feels stunted. But her mother was also stunted.
Mother was totally stunted.
Her mother was
And
stunted.
you go and
as
see
just,
it in
like,
the
a
grandma,
16-year-old.
though.
This is what I'm saying. There's something to be said about all this generational stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. Wild.
The whole book was a big shock, actually. But
That's
for
what I'm
me,
saying. It's like I can't even pick the most shocking because in its totality, I was
Yeah.
just like, what am I reading? Flip. What am I reading? Flip page. What am I reading? Flip page. Oh my gosh, flip page. Yeah.
So I would listen to it though.
And she narrated it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you feel about that?
On her, when I didn't like her man voices.
Oh, yeah.
So usually I've never yet run into a woman where I'm like, oh, like so when
Doing
we
the
read
man's
Normal
voice.
People,
Yeah.
that was good. And it was I think Ova.
Yep.
What's
Bachman.
it?
Yep.
What's that book called though?
Man called Ova.
Yeah, Man Called Ova.
Yep.
Fine. The woman doing
Yeah,
the male voice
was
fine.
fine.
This no, it was terrible.
Oh,
It was
interesting.
terrible.
I didn't listen.
But to be fair, I also listened to it at 1.5 speed.
Yeah, you listen
So
quick.
maybe I should.
You listen fast.
Oh, well, yeah, and that's not even as fast as I normally listen. But she actually
Okay.
kind of she talks quickly.
Yeah. Oh,
so,
good.
So
There's
a
nothing
little bit
worse than a
different.
slow narrator.
it was good. I wanted to hear the whole thing. I mean, at the
Yeah.
end, once mom died, I was kind of like, okay. I like that she actually showed the generational thing by then after talking about grandma.
Yeah.
Right? It's like that's when she discovered maybe like, oh, I see.
Oh, wait a second.
where
There's
this
some
comes from. Yeah.
similarities.
Oh, I kind of liked her grandpa. Because her grandpa was like honest and he said things, you know, like you don't
just
need to
how it
do
was.
this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, she needed that. She needed
Yeah.
that voice.
She never listened to it though.
No, well, it's hard to when your mother won't
Is
let
your-
you
yes.
quit.
Man.
Right?
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? I forget.
Oh no. I'm sorry.
Oh darn.
Well,
Do you
I'm
have
not
a
that sorry.
favorite like quote or anything from the book?
I can't think of any.
Okay, I have
No,
one.
you
I'll
have
pull
one?
mine up. Yeah.
Okay, bring it up.
Okay. All right. She says, I yearn to know the people I love deeply and intimately without context, without boxes, and I yearn for them to know me that way too. And I just thought that was so interesting of a quote because you think when you know somebody and you love somebody, like you know them deeply already. But I think when she talks about without context or without these boxes, it made me think, oh, does she want to know does she want to know them apart from how they actually know them?
Right.
So in thinking about her mother, does she want to know her mother without the context of her being her mother and just as a human
Mm-hmm.
who has probably all this trauma and all these things happening to her? I just thought that was an interesting thing to say.
Yeah.
Considering everything she's experienced.
Right.
I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I don't have any quotes that.
Yeah.
I mean, that is interesting for sure.
Yeah.
It's just she is interesting. Like learning how she had to learn how to accept other people's love and desire for her, and that she was good enough, you know. And I don't even know by the end of this book that she's fully gotten that she's good enough, you know, on her, because
I don't think
she
so.
learned, I think, how to, with the eating disorder.
Yeah.
She learned how to like
get out of that.
Yeah, but even I really appreciated the way that she talked about her and her helper Jeff or whatever. You know, said, "Don't let a slip turn into like a slide."
Yeah,
that's what it is, right?
Yeah,
don't let a slip turn into a slide.
Yeah,
and so
just great advice.
How she had to think like, he would tell her, "You have these tendencies, or you did this thing that was bulimic, but you are not considered to be that anymore," right? And just like that sort of nuance of having to walk through it that way, like it shows
with that mindset,
and it shows the places where most of us find defeat when we don't have somebody else helping us through those. We will immediately go, "Oh, I did it again. I'm a failure. I'll comfort myself."
You fully slide.
Oh, you just do. So easy, right? So
that's great advice. Don't let your slip become the slide.
Yeah, I liked that part of it.
Yeah.
So I guess there's a quote in there that I did like.
That is a good one.
But just her journey is so interesting.
Interesting. And do you think she had like closure with her mom? Do you think there was any kind of, not acceptance, but kind of like...
I'd almost say there was acceptance and not closure.
Yeah.
Like...
Interesting.
And acceptance is not like, it's fine.
It's fine, no, but just...
But there has to...
happened
at some point has to be, well, that is what it was.
Yeah, that was my childhood.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately.
And I think maybe she did decide, like, okay, I can say something to stop this kind of thing.
Right.
Right? And especially just in that world... Because you know that there's other moms making and dads making their kids go do these things so they can live vicariously through them.
Yeah, or for the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's a documentary that just came out called Child Stars.
Yeah.
Demi Lovato is like interviewing all these child stars, and she talks to Raven Simone, who started in commercials when she was really young, but her big thing was the Cosby Show.
Oh yeah.
And right? Yeah. And she was I think she was like 3 or 4.
She was so
little. Cute.
She was so cute.
So cute.
Yeah.
And she described it, her dad or parents would say, "This is the family business. So you're going to act, you're going to give us the money. And like, this is the family business." So it wasn't even like she wanted to be a star. She wanted to be whatever. It was a family business. So I just think, there's something to be said about that.
And that's tough. That's tough. I think, and that's why I think if I were to have to deal with that, like me and Shannon are not going to be like, "Kids, go be stars."
Right.
Like, never ask that for them or of them.
Yeah.
But if they did something that got them an opportunity, I wouldn't want to steal that either.
Yeah.
But if you can just...
There's like that fine line.
But if you can just... Their expectations need to be not controlled. They need to be...
Boundaried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They need to have clear understanding of who they are and what they're in.
Yeah.
Right? And that their value does not
come... And why they're doing it.
And their value does not come from it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, major.
And that it ends.
Yeah.
Like it ends.
It's not the end all and be all.
Yeah. I think that they're often left with this idea that it just goes on. When the truth is, if you're a kid star, and she says this in her book, you get pigeonholed because you were famous for a reason and that's all you can be.
Yeah. Your only child. And then you grow into your adolescence and you hit puberty and all those things, and then those opportunities aren't there for you anymore because, like you said, pigeonholed.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah. I also did like the way she talked about how she could cry on command. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was interesting. I was like, dang, girl.
It feels really weird to like rate this book.
Okay, I was gonna say,
but we need
there's this thing about memoirs that I have a hard time rating somebody's life. Like I'm rating somebody's life and life story. And so maybe we rate it based on not necessarily like the plot, for lack of it. It's not really plot, someone's life. But maybe just like our enjoyment levels. And enjoyment, like, I'm using that term loosely because this is not an enjoyable read.
I'm scowling right now for those who are listening.
This is not an enjoyable, like, this was such a fun read.
No.
Like,
so it captivated me.
Okay. Oh, good word. Captivated.
But
good word.
and she's actually she writes well.
Yes.
Right?
I agree.
Yeah.
I was instantly like
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. The story's captivating.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you rate it?
So I'm not a memoir guy.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't read a lot of them. Why is that?
I don't know.
You just don't care about people's lives?
No. Like, yeah. I mean,
you just don't care, huh?
You're
just a big old guy who doesn't give a big ol' anything about a big ol' anyone.
Well, I mean, okay, before we started this, I said,
Sure.
If Kathy Lee Gifford wrote something, I wouldn't care about that either. You go, wow, it's Kathy Lee Gifford. Well, I mean,
I don't care about Kathy Lee Gifford either. Respectfully, man.
I know. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but this is also like, I didn't care about this person before. I don't know this person from a hole in the ground.
I didn't really know her or anything.
Yeah.
It was the title.
So I think she did.
I
think the story captivating me was like great. I'll just give it a 3.5.
Okay.
Because
why not a 4? Why are we gonna stop at the half star?
Because
tell me. Tell us.
Just cause.
Okay.
Because I don't like these kinds of books that much.
That's fair.
And I want to be able to rate a narrative. I want to be able to rate the character arc or the
plot pace.
Yeah. That doesn't exist here.
Yeah.
Is her story intriguing? Absolutely. Does she write well? Absolutely. Do I recommend this book to anybody? No, because I just don't care enough to recommend it to anyone.
I recommend it. I tell people to read it all the time, actually.
Cool.
Often.
And she needs people like you, and she doesn't need
push
people
it forward.
like me. Yeah. But if somebody asked me about it, I wouldn't be like, oh, that was trash.
Right.
I should be like, okay, yeah, no. I mean,
yeah,
it was an interesting book.
Huh.
Her life was crazy. It's more like a train wreck. And
it really you couldn't look
I won't
away.
get to the place that I won't get to my location and go, guys, you need to go back and check out the train wreck I just watched. That's what it feels like.
That's fair.
So
you can't look away.
You can't look away. And it gives you a lot of food for thought for sure.
Yeah. Definitely.
So you
left me pondering for sure.
What do you give it?
Yeah, I give this a solid 4 stars.
Okay.
I do.
Just you like memoirs too.
I like memoirs. One thing about me, guys, I love a memoir. I just like hearing other people's stories.
There's a lot of one things about you.
Yeah. A million things about me, guys. I love a memoir. Yeah, I think I was captivated by her writing.
Yeah,
I was
good.
intrigued, initially. And I said by the title, out the gate, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
That seems harsh. Then you read it and you're like, not harsh.
Yeah.
I would be glad as well. So yeah, it's a 4-star for me.
Okay.
Yep. And I do recommend it to people. And I did read this with my book club, actually.
Oh yeah. And what did they all think?
They all had, if I remember correctly, very similar 3-4-star ratings.
Okay.
There's people who don't really like memoirs, but enjoyed this one. And yeah, we said in our book club, this isn't an enjoyable read.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't butterflies.
No, it's
roses.
not. It's definitely not rainbows and ponies.
It could be a hard read.
Yeah.
For some people. Yeah. But like I said, we need to read things that make us a little bit uncomfortable.
For sure. Yeah.
To experience somebody else's life story. So
agreed.
4 stars for me.
So yeah, 3.5 for me.
Okay. I can live with that.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Good.
I respect it. I like it. I like it.
Awesome.
Okay, if you have read this one, let us know your thoughts.
Yeah.
We want to know.
Yes, please.
So we'll have a post going, and then you can comment. You can send us a DM on Instagram. We read them. We'll talk to you.
She reads them.
I read them. We'll talk to you.
And she tells me about them.
Yeah, it was good. I did enjoy reading this book. Well, I did enjoy in the most non-enjoyable way ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, friends. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with a brand new episode next Wednesday.
And next Wednesday, we will announce the book club
pick
for
October. Yay!
Crazy. No, November. Oh my goodness! Christmas
what year
is coming.
Is it? Well, I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. I don't know what year it is. You know what that mean?
Our pets' heads are falling off. No.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. You know that one?
No.
Rob, please be on TikTok.
No.
I would be so much funnier if you were on TikTok.
You're funny.
Thank you.
Yeah.
On that note, I'm funny. Goodbye.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode. We hope you had an amazing time with us. Remember to catch us on all of the socials, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Fable. And hey, Catch us next week for a brand new episode.